What is going on here? Okay, now I'm live on YouTube too. So if I start lagging really bad here, you can just jump over there. Oh yeah, I must be lagging big time. All right, let's do this. Let's turn this off. And let's turn this on. And then let's see if that helps. It did help. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm back. See? I just had to turn the Wi-Fi off and turn it on again. That's it. Henry's on it. Nice to know that you know something more than just like about cactuses. Neon, son of a bitch. Fly, we're gonna have a talk later. You're not gonna like the outcome of that. I guarantee. That sounded Cajun as hell, didn't it? I don't know any Cajuns. I should get to know some Cajuns. Interesting people. Did you know Italian men will grow a mustache? Oh my God. I can't say that on TikTok. That's racist. Not really, though. What the hell is up with you people tonight? Oh, I know what it is. It's Saturday night and you're all drunk. Good. Cajun? Uh-oh. I wouldn't want to go drink for drink with you. Kawasaki makes a great lawnmower. What? No shit. I didn't know that. Yep. I must be talking shit tonight. Hi from Alaska. Hello, Alaska. It's just about that time when the non-hackers start to pack up and go somewhere else, huh? Beautiful in the summer, though. Absolutely beautiful. Probably the most beautiful place on earth in the summer. What do you got into that Tumblr? Uh-huh. That's right. Tell us some shit about silver. Okay, I'll tell you a couple things about silver. Since you asked. Oh, where do you even start, man? Where do you start? Obviously, all bets are off with the price because nobody really knows what the hell to do as far as technical analysis on silver right now. Yeah, silver's good to buy. That's your summation. Buy as much as you possibly can. However, having said that, there's probably 30 different things, 30 reasons to buy silver. There are 0 reasons not to. And if there were, I would give them to you. I'll give you an example. If we had an absolute fucking budget hawk running, either one of them, if either one of them said, my first goal is to absolutely strangle this budget to the point where it is unrecognizable because the federal government is wasting money in a way that is wholly unsustainable, and we will be bankrupt as a nation within a couple of years if we don't stop. I would say, you know what, guys? Just hang on to what you got. Don't buy any more yet. Because if that actually happened, the price of silver could go down. Now, of course, the price of milk would go down, price of eggs, price of meat, price of everything would go down. We'd have healthy deflation. And when you're on a monetary system that's based on metals, you do get healthy deflation. We've had it dozens of times. Sell some gold to buy silver. Absolutely, right now, yes. And then I would buy back the gold because, and especially if you've got a lot of money. And here's, this is and believe it or not, I was really surprised to find out how many very wealthy people listen to me on TikTok. Because, you think of TikTok, it's like, it's fun, but, is it something that really like serious business people get on? Yeah, absolutely. So here's what I would say. If you've got hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars that you want to put into metal, then there's obvious reasons for gold. It's portable. You can put it in a briefcase and carry around millions of dollars with you if you need to leave the country or whatever. Can you buy precious metals on Walmart? I'm not sure how good their deals are going to be because the price changes pretty regularly. So what they do is they just set a price that gives them a big old profit margin, and then they don't have to worry about it for days. And that's basically what they do. Same thing with Costco. Costco is wildly expensive. What's your best advice to improve one's speaking skills? That's a tough one. I was sort of born with the gift of gab. I was always able to speak in front of people. I actually, I get butterflies in my stomach, but it's not the kind where I think I'm going to puke. It's the kind where it's like exciting. I'm excited, like, before a football game. You're all revved up, you're ready to go, you're focused, everything's good. Yeah, I mean, if you want to hold your gold, that's cool. But remember that, gold is at a place where it should be. It should be at 3,000, and it's closing in on 3,000. It'll get there real soon. But best place to buy gold is the guy you're looking at right now, me. My number is in my bio up there. Click on that and text me tomorrow morning. So, but here's the thing. Gold's where it should be. Silver is not. So if you have a whole bunch of gold, it could double. If you have a whole bunch of silver, it could easily quadruple. Well, I like quadruple better than double all day. And at the point where it quadruples, if you choose to get back into gold simply because of the safety of it, and that's it. You're not really looking to make money. You're just looking for wealth insurance on your principal. Okay, great. Get back into it. Well, why not take advantage of this huge price disparity? It's truly unsustainable. You can't have silver at 1% or less of the price of gold. It should be over 2%, which means it's got to double. Holding your silver is not a bad idea either. And, if you've got something that you need to do, then that's one thing. How's the furniture industry going? Ooh, it's fucking brutal. Everything's brutal. I mean, look, man, the economy is in the process of shutting down. I said this was going to happen, and it's happening. And it's, every day you see 5,000 jobs lost here, 1,000 jobs there. All of the CVSs in this part of the world are shutting down, or all of the, McDonald's or whatever. And it's like stuff that you never see shutting down. Housing is definitely going down. Housing is down year over year. Mortgage rates went up in spite of the 50 basis point cut. I mean, it sucks, but if you're ready for it, then, did you vote Tuesday? Let's see. Red Lobster even took a hit. Yep. And the thing is, they said, oh, it's because of the unlimited shrimp. That was not it at all. That was not the reason. Had paper money a long time ago, and this said silver certificate. Well, that's because you could go to the bank and say, I'd like my silver. That was pretty awesome because your paper was a paper representative of the silver held by the bank, and it really worked. If you want to buy some silver, I've got some. I'm going to have quite a bit here shortly. And, the reason is I'm buying as much as I possibly can from every source I can now, because I know that over the course of the next couple months, there may be a time between now and Christmas where I'm out of a job for a little while, because I'm not going to ask you guys to sell me your silver unless, if you need to, great, I'll buy it back from you, no problem. But it may be hard to get. And the reason I say that is because the Chinese have been buying up basically all the silver that they could find everywhere in the world. They used to be the number two exporter behind Mexico. And this year, they haven't exported a single ounce. As a matter of fact, they've imported every ounce they could find, including the slurry that they're getting from South America that they're paying twice the market rate for. Then they're bringing it back and refining it in China so that they don't have to disclose how much they've purchased. Yeah, well, Russia is actually buying silver now too. Why is the Chinese economy crashing? If I had to give you a couple of reasons, the number one reason would be, in my opinion, it has to do with the absolutely massive amount of corruption. Their system is so wildly, unbelievably corrupt, and it's almost hard to even fathom, because to give you an example, provinces are not allowed to make loans. how's India's economy going? It's actually doing really well. This year, normally they buy about 118 million ounces per year on average. They bought 130 million ounces in the first 3 months of the year, and it looks like they've quadrupled that amount so far. The year's not over. They're doing the same thing. They're hoarding silver just like China. Silver right now it's hovering right around 34, and so to actually buy it, you're looking at closer to 36, and that's just the way it is. The wholesale price for people who are buying 100 tons at a time is spot price. That's it. If you're not buying 100 tons, you're going to have to pay a little more than that. Yeah, China's corruption makes ours look absolutely tame, because the thing is that there are people up there like Nancy Pelosi who just accidentally makes hundreds of millions of dollars on trades that she knows are going to go well, because even though she doesn't make the trades, her husband does, and she doesn't talk to her husband ever about what's going on with the committees that she sits on. It seems like they've been awfully lucky. When she knows that there's going to be something happening in committee that's going to affect the company, he seems to always know ahead of time to buy it, and they make a tremendous amount of money. That's legal corruption. But in China, and by the way, if you find a district attorney or a comptroller or a fucking dog catcher in the United States who's stealing money, big deal, man. It's a big deal. They always get busted. They always end up getting caught somehow. Makes the news. It's a big problem, because corruption down at that minor level is just not tolerated in this country. It literally starts with meter maids and works its way all the way to the very top in China. You're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars in corruption a day. Everything's corrupt. The real estate market, everything else. That's why when you go and you look at these buildings, there are buildings that fall over all the time that are full of people. They're high rises. Well, how does a high rise fall over in China and nobody hears about it when 1,000 people are trapped in it? Because the media is not allowed to cover it, period. So it doesn't get covered. And that's the thing. How much news comes out of China? Whatever they allow out of China. So nobody's really seen how bad the corruption is, but I found a couple of statistics online that were remarkable, because they were from very credible sources. And it's like, their provinces are not allowed to loan money or approve bond issues or things like that. It's only the CCP that's allowed to do that. However, so much money was being made in real estate that the central party sort of looked the other way for quite a while and let the provinces kind of do whatever they wanted. Well, as it turns out, those provinces total have put about $8 trillion into the really, really shitty real estate market, having loaned $8 trillion to developers to go build ghost cities that are now unoccupied and collapsing. That's $8 trillion that nobody even talks about. When we talk about their economy collapsing because of real estate, that's the real estate. That's the 6-year drop year over year that we've seen on the books. There's $8 trillion off the books that nobody talks about. I would love to see insider trading in all of its aspects become illegal. Does China's corruption compare with India? That's hard to say. I know India has their issues. However, it's such a booming economy that there's enough room for all of it. And that's exactly what happened with China. When you've got GDP increases every year of double digits, Jesus, I mean, my God, your economy's growing so fast, you can't keep track of all of it. It's unhealthy for it to grow that fast. But if you're a poor country whose people have been, working one plot of land for 4 generations now because they're used to not having a toilet or indoor plumbing, and then all of a sudden you see these massive gains, you're not going to say no to them. That's just not going to happen. Why is the demand for oil in China currently? I didn't see that. I didn't see the end of that one. Our corruption has to be near the top of the list. Let me explain something, folks. Thomas Paine had it right. There's no such thing as a good government. There is no good government, period. You can't have such a thing. So all governments are corrupt. What's a good starting dollar amount to get into buying silver? As much as you can, literally, whatever you're not using right now. If it doesn't go to rent or a car payment or insurance, put it in silver. That's what I tell people. Even if it's just, hey, I'm going to stop drinking Starbucks every day and I'm going to take that money. Believe me, it'll add up fast. I just had a guy on here on one of my live streams who said, hey, man, I remember you from 4 years ago. I took your advice and I started buying silver whenever I could. I would buy it every week when I would get paid. And he's got, I forget what he said, but something like 500 or 600 ounces now. It's like 500 or 600 ounces. That's a good amount. I mean, that's real wealth. You could actually use that 2 years from now, 3 years from now, because believe me, at that point, it could easily be $60,000 or $70,000 to go buy a foreclosure. Now you're into a house that was 700, and now it's 400, or it was 300, and now it's 100. And now all of a sudden you're into a house and you can start riding that whole thing back up again, just like everybody did in 2012. I looked at a house for $189,000 with a buddy of mine who's a general contractor. And he said, look, man, it's a hell of a house. 12,000 square feet. Had a 12-foot deep diving swimming pool. It was completely gutted. The only thing that was left inside was an 8-burner Viking stove and a couple of Sub-Zero refrigerators that were too big to take with them. Stole clothes on the floor. I mean, they lost the house in a foreclosure. And, it was on about an acre. And it actually looked like something that should have been in like Miami Vice episode. It was kind of dated, but at the same time, it was just huge and overbuilt and huge verandas everywhere. And it's in a really good neighborhood too. $189,000. And he said, look, brother, we're going to need $200,000-$300,000 to make this place sparkle again. You got it. And I said, well, I'm buying a house for $3 million. I don't think I can do both. And he said, all right, well, let's just watch this, see what it does. Well, I looked at it the other day. It was just a little over $3 million from 189,000. Now those deals are out there, but not yet. 3 years from now, they'll be out there. 5 years from now, they'll be everywhere. And that's why it's important to get out of cash now, because as the value of those homes goes down, the value of your cash is going to go down with them. But the value of your silver will be going up. Exactly the opposite. Those numbers make no sense. Why did they censor that? What are some of the industries that are failing right now besides failing? Wait, that doesn't make sense. I don't understand why you'd say it's failing. Does that say failing? Yes, it does. Oh, that are not failing right now besides silver and gold. Those are the only ones that I can think of. I mean, if you want to buy into a parts manufacturer who makes parts for washing machines and refrigerators and such, because people aren't going to be buying new ones, not for several years now. I mean, it's gotten to the point now where it's time for people to start really tightening up the belt and stop being stupid. The stimmies are over. The stimmies are all gone. Credit card defaults are skyrocketing right now. We're at the highest credit card debt we've ever had in the United States at $1.9 trillion. I mean, it's obvious. It's obvious what's going on. Foreclosures are rising. Car repossessions are skyrocketing. Repo rates are literally the highest that they've been since 2008. How soon do you think the housing market is going to crash? Oh, it's crashing now. It's already started downhill. But unlike the equities market, the equity market can unwind in a matter of 2 months. You could see a 50-60% drop in 2 months. That's why I tell people that unless you've got big brass balls, you better get out of the market now, because it's going to crash. It's just a matter of when. Will it go up another 10%? Maybe. Another 20%? Highly unlikely, but it could go up another 10%. Are you willing to risk half of your life savings in order to see that happen? Because here's the thing, if it crashes, is it going to come back? Yeah, it probably will. It's not guaranteed, but it probably will. So if it crashes and you're caught looking the wrong way, you're caught flat-footed, all that means doesn't mean you're going to lose money. It just means that between 2025 and say the year 2035, you're not going to make a single penny. Yeah, because it'll have to come back up to where it was when it crashed. And that could take, in the case of the S&P 500, the last time it crashed really bad, it crashed and it didn't come back up for 12 years. You really want to take that risk? Yep, banks are still failing, no question about it. You still need to live somewhere. So as a house you live in, just ride it out. Yeah, well, I mean, that's what if you can, ride it out. Inflation is insidious. Oh, absolutely. And it's completely unnecessary. Credit card debt at $1.9 trillion. Here, as a matter of fact, let's go to the national debt clock and let's see what it is right now. Let's see. Boom. I'm sorry. It's $1.35 trillion. And the student loan debt is $1.7 trillion. Total personal debt that people are carrying right now, holy shit, $25 trillion. The people in the United States have a total accumulated amount of debt of $25.6 trillion in debt. Personal debt per citizen is $75,900 each. Oh, man. Now, by the way, just so we're clear, that is not counting the $651,000 in personal liability for every citizen for Social Security and Medicare, because that's a total of $210 trillion. But that also doesn't count the $35 trillion in debt, which works out to $271,000 per taxpayer, or $106,000 per citizen. So altogether, you've got 757. Let's see. So 757. Oh wait, 857,000. Oh no, I'm sorry. It's per citizen. 757,000. So $831,000 each. So we each owe almost $1 million to clear up our personal and national debt. Just under $1 million. It'll be $1 million by Christmas. Right now, how many citizens are in the United States? I believe we've got about 330 million. Let's see. 300, where is it? U.S. population, 337 million people. Now, what's interesting is that's up quite a bit from the year 2000. But the amount of people in the workforce was in 2000, it was, let's see, 161,900,000 people in the workforce. So 161,900,000. Now it's 161,800,000. There are less people in the workforce now than there were a quarter of a century ago. Figure that one out. I guess we used to print our way out like the government is trying to do. Does that include? No, that's not counting illegals. If we were counting illegals, that would be a lot more people. Thanks, man. That's what I do. I dig up info for you guys. How come student loan is higher than credit card debt? Because you absolutely cannot charge it off. Period. You can't go bankrupt and write off your student loans. That's an interesting one, isn't it? You can write off any kind of debt known to man, except your student loans. Even if you declare bankruptcy, you still have to pay the full amount. Or let it go to collections and start paying interest and penalties as well. Well, it's not that the workforce is getting older, it's also that we shipped all of our jobs overseas. We have virtually no manufacturing left in this country. Where's the best place to buy silver? Brian, right there. Click on my bio, get my information, my number, and text me tomorrow. I'll be happy to hook you up with some 999 fine, baby. Good stuff. Let's see, manufacturing jobs. In 2000, there were 17 million. Now there are 12 million. Even with the huge increase in population, we've still gone down by about 5 million people. That's why we have so many people out of work, because an economy is simple. They try to make it sound really complicated, but it's actually really simple. Products and services. I know it sounds dumb, right? It's like, how simple is that? Products and services. Okay, well, we have services, but we don't manufacture any products. Oh, so that's not good, because that's one of the two critical elements. Going down, because we're advancing our status as a core country now. I don't even know what a core country, what that means, but no, it's manufacturing's going down because a lot of rich guys got together and said, hey, NAFTA and GATT are actually going to help us. And Ross Perot said, no, that's bullshit. It will do exactly the opposite. Their standard of living is here. Ours is here. If we sign something that says that we have completely free trade between us, we go like that, which means they come up and we go down. That is exactly what happened. 25 years later, 35 years later, we look back and we go, oh yeah, Perot was right. Huh. Because he was a businessman and Al Gore was wrong. And what was he? A sycophant, child of a senator. Wow. Okay. Not really. Trump might have 4 years, but Vance will have 8. So that gives us 12 years. We'll be okay. Oh shit, we got a bunch of other messages. Let's see. Store a large amount of silver. I live in a hurricane area of Louisiana. I would store it someplace safe. So if you live in a hurricane area, if you're above the water level, then make sure that you just put it someplace like a safe, or, I mean, like, it really depends on your situation. I don't know how bad it is there, but there are tons of jobs that aren't calculated into those numbers. Gig workers and Jesus, I got to see who said that. Gollum, you must be 14 years old. Gig workers and influencers. Do you really think that that makes up enough of our GDP that somebody's going to count that? I don't know if girls that dance on TikTok and Braless actually declare their wages or not, but holy shit. The bio information. Yeah, if you go up here, it says Martin at the top, and it's got my little picture. If you poke that, it'll take you from my live to my channel. And on my channel, it's got my phone number. American jobs are going overseas. Well, we don't have much to send, so they've already gone overseas for 24 years now. Actually, that's not true. When did we actually sign GATT and NAFTA? Mid-90s. So yeah, it's been well over 30 years now that we've been sending American jobs overseas. Let's see. Yep, he had my vote. Let's see. Core country is a fully developed country according to world systems theory. I really don't see how that helps us, though. Is manufacturing going down still a bad thing? Really? You must be. I'm assuming that must be sarcasm. Apparently, there are 12 million full-time influencers in the U.S. That's funny. Full-time, huh? Uh-huh. Let's see. Where do you bury your silver? West Virginia Heathen says his backyard. That's awesome. Well, hello, Cha Cha. Let's see. What do we got here? The amount of damage done to our country is going to take more than 8 years to fix it. Yeah, it'll take 12. Fifth power grid going down. Well, that's a big deal. Gig workers are absolutely a huge part of the economy. That's very funny. Yeah, you know what? When I go to the bar the next time and there's a dude playing guitar there, and I slip him a $10 bill because he's actually pretty good. I don't think he's going to declare that, but I'm not really sure that it matters too much. I got a buddy who plays piano and he makes $500 a day doing it. So yeah, there are people like him. He's the only person I've ever known that could do that, though. Buy a rent house or one to flip. Not right now. Oh, shit, no, I wouldn't go anywhere near real estate right now. U.S. government is already bankrupt. That's true. Thank you for your insight. My phone, AI sends. Huh. Yeah, I mean, he taught himself how to play piano. He went to a piano bar, and he'd been playing guitar for 30 years. He went and saw how much fun the guys were having at a piano bar, and he said, "Hey, I want to learn how to play a piano and work here." And they said, "All right, you only need to know about 90 songs." And he said, "Okay." And 3 months later, he played piano and he knew 90 songs. No shit. Why not real estate? It's this thing. It's a, what do they call it? It's a type of gum bubble. We've got a huge real estate bubble right now. It's just not from Thailand. Oh, my buddy just got back from there. He said it's a beautiful place. He loves the people. Everybody was super friendly. He said Vietnam was even crazier, though. It was just the nicest folks he's ever met in his life. Which country owes the least debt now? God, that's a great question. I will look that up because that's a good question. Whoever has the least debt, that's where you probably want to move to. My son has everything in the stock market. Oh shit. Well, the good news is he's 35 and he's going to lose it all, and then he'll have to start working on getting it back. And the next time he'll be a lot more careful. Is where to store. Wait, what does that say? Oh, they're making sure that I'm a live person. Hold on for a second, guys. Let's see. Let's go there and that. There we go. All right. Now, let's see. Martin, problem is where to store silver. Well, it depends on how much you're buying. I mean, how much are you thinking about buying? Let's see. Everybody is going to the Philippines to get a wife. Well, unless they're going to Russia. Arabian country has least debt, probably. No, they've actually been borrowing like crazy because they're sure that they're never going to run out of oil. Oops. Let's see. Public. Switzerland, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Czech. That, yeah, okay. I buy that completely. I'm surprised Norway isn't the number one. And the reason I'm surprised is because Norway is very, very careful. Are the glasses uncomfortable? No, they just don't work worth a shit. It's very strange. I put them on and nothing gets clear until I get really up close, which, I mean, hell, I can do that without glasses. What's silver today? It's about $34. It's bouncing right around there. I think it's going to go up quite a bit tomorrow, though, or Monday, because, well, Israel started bombing again. Whoa. Oh, okay, hold on. That's loud. There we go. Let's see. And whenever, by the way, whenever Israel bombs them, 50K. But then in that case, I would talk to you. You send me a text. I'll talk to you about where to store it and what to do with it. Buy Verilux lenses. Okay, maybe I will. Yeah, these are my cheap readers. My good ones, I read every night when I go to bed, and I put them on the headboard, and they fell behind the headboard. So yeah, I've got a humongous ass, heavy, solid wood bed frame. So it's gonna take a bit to get to them. So I just threw these on, and guess what? They don't work worth a damn. My thoughts on crypto. I love crypto. I love Bitcoin. But guess what? Until this catastrophic cyber attack plays out that everybody's talking about is going to happen, I don't know how that's going to affect crypto. Look, if it's just localized, okay, well, so what? If it's worldwide, well, what does that mean? Does that mean that if the entire internet goes down, I don't give a fuck what your blockchain does, because your blockchain's on the internet. So even if the servers are safe around the world, the servers can't communicate with anybody. You have no money. That's going to be a big, big issue. You read before bed every night. All kinds of different stuff. I just got done with a Robert Ludlum novel. Let's see. I've got stocks in silver, and I'm buying silver. I would like buying from you. Do it, definitely. I will be more than happy. You need some 2.5s. I thought that's what these were. I don't know. I thought these were 2.5s. Let's see. Rumblings on the internet that cyber attack might be on election day. Gee, wouldn't that be a shocker? Thanks, Rich Man. No, I'm not going to stop. I love doing this. So you're trying to accumulate silver because it's going to be hard to get and selling it. No, I am accumulating it, obviously. And how am I accumulating it? Because I'm buying and selling it. How does being in a business make you a grifter? If I were buying and selling furniture and I wanted to use some of it to decorate my house, would that make me a grifter? Because I'm not giving you all of the furniture I bought? I don't get it. I think Gollum's just got a little wild hair up his ass to be a troll. Let's see. I only sell options, card calls, and cash secured puts. I don't buy anything. Well, if you know what you're doing, there's a huge amount of money in that. Yeah, the power grid is absolutely the weakest link. We have a very, very vulnerable power grid. You sell silver in small quantities, 20 ounces at a time. You're probably better off just going local. And that way, because, there's all kinds of places that will sell 20 ounces cheap. Once you start trying to buy, believe it or not, if you say, hey, I'm going to buy 10,000 ounces, you're not going to impress a wholesaler. He's not going to go, oh, well, if you're going to buy that much, I'll give you a better price. Because if he doesn't sell 10,000 ounces to you, he's going to sell 10,000 ounces to 1,000 people today. That's the way the silver market works. If I buy from you, how do I get it? You're in Missouri. Well, it depends on when you buy. If you buy right now, I'm going to be driving through Missouri in about a week and a half. I could actually hand it to you. But normally I just mail it. I send it in the mail. USPS, baby. They never lose anything. Can you sell me a small amount before the price goes up Monday? Are you local? That's the big question, Ron. Silver, baby, silver. Yeah, I'm telling you, look, silver here. Like if you want to sleep well at night, this is why I tell people buy silver. Name something that has no counterparty risk. Sorry, Ron. See that cactus? It does not have a cowboy hat on it. I live in Arizona. If I can buy, there's no such thing as junk silver. Now, I'm saying that to be a smartass because I know they call it junk silver. But the reality is this. Silver is fucking silver. There's no such thing as junk silver. There's 90% coins that are old, but anybody who thinks they're junk doesn't understand them because they can't make those anymore. And those are extremely recognizable. That's why it's hard to find because people don't want to sell their 90% silver. They want to hoard it for good reason. It makes sense that you'd want to hold on to something that is 90% made out of silver and it's extremely recognizable. Like anybody can look at a dime and go, oh yeah, 1948, I know what that is. Oh, 1962 quarter. Oh yeah, that's worth it's got to be $5 now. Let's see, 90% quarter value. There you go. Boom, value. No, thank you. Appreciate that. Don't need to buy any. Thank you. No, boy. All of my boys are coming up here. I'm a wholesaler for all of these big firms that spend tons of money to be on Google. And I guess they don't realize it's me because they're trying to pitch me. Everybody's got their ad. And, it's like, here, click here. We'll give you a better deal. And it's like, no, you won't. I already buy from you guys. You just bought $1,000 in dimes. That's fine. I don't remember selling $1,000 in dimes. You cheating bastard. You should be ashamed of yourself, Bill. Unbelievable. Do all this research for you. And you go buy $1,000 worth of dimes from them. It's okay. I don't feel bad because you paid too much for it. So you've already paid your penance. Max AZ. Yeah, well, I like the call sign. Let's see. What are we at right now? Fucking cracks me up. Oh my God. I was just looking at candy bars today, not to eat, heathen, but and I'm talking to the guy who pitched me on keto, and I started doing it, and I've lost a lot of weight. But I was looking at the candy bars because they were on the counter and they had the price right below them. And it's funny because, candy bars are $2.99 a piece. No, not from Missouri. Originally from Hollywood, and now I live in Arizona. $2.99 for a fucking candy bar. Really? And I thought about it because they were a dime when I was a kid. And I realized, wait a minute. So if I used a quarter back then to buy a couple of candy bars, what would that same silver quarter be today? $6.10. I could still buy those 2 candy bars for the same damn quarter, because spot price for one of these, and this is the best part, this is the melt value. This is not what you have to pay to buy one. This is just the melt value. Can we buy tomorrow? If so, what's the minimum amount? Where are you at, Coco? Several wives. How much do I have in my inventory? Well, 18,500 ounces. Georgia. Ooh, you're lucky. Georgia, you're very lucky. I'll be in Georgia next week. No, week after next. I'm going to do the Randall Carlson podcast. And you bought from me before? Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Then of course. Well, whatever spot is Monday, we'll just pretend like you bought it Friday, because you're already a client. So all of you newbies, not doing that. But for Coco, I will, because she's already a client. So yeah, if you want to call me tomorrow, send me a text. As long as it's not too much, because of the 18,500 ounces in inventory, I'm going to say pretty much all of it's gone. But I do have some literally sitting here, hour north. Well, I'm going to Stone Mountain. Coco, I'm going to be in Stone Mountain, Georgia. I don't know how far north that is, but it's got to be 30 minutes. So there you go. I'm going to be making a lot of home deliveries. This is going to be fun, because I'm flying into Philadelphia, going to see one of you guys that's on here. Don't say anything, because I know you, and I know you'll go, oh, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it. We don't want to talk about that. Yes, he knows geology, especially in every fucking area, it seems like, except the Altai Mountains. The Altai Mountains of Russia. And by the way, just so you know, it's one of the things that Randall and I are going to be talking about, the Altai Mountains. I found some shit that even he didn't know about. Some pretty radical things that happened about 11,000 years ago. You know what? I will look and see where you are in relation to where I'm going, but it's pretty close. So if nothing else, we could stop me, you can meet me and have lunch for a fact. I have, I have 6 stops to make and 7 days to do it. It's going to be fun. What's your podcast called? Well, at this point on YouTube, my podcast is, let me check and see if I got people on here. Oh yeah, look at that. I got 2 people. Hello, YouTube. Right now I've got it. I thought I'd call it the Cancel Me Podcast. Seems pretty good. What are spelling quarters for? Oh, what you spelling quarters for? It's amazing to me how many people don't have their spell check on their phones. You get near Raleigh, North Carolina. I still have my map up. Let's see. I guess not. All right, let's pull the map up. Maps. I'll tell you exactly where I'm going. And I will be doing live streams as long as they allow me to do live streams while I'm driving. I think they're probably going to shut me down like right away. As soon as they realize I'm driving, they're going to be like, oh, that's unsafe. I don't see why it's unsafe. I mean, I'm only going to be looking down half the time. Saluting Marine. I like it. Semper Fi, brother. Let's see. Let's go over here to the other side of the country. All right. And let's go to North Carolina. Where the hell did you say you were from? Raleigh? Ooh, I don't know about that. That looks, wait, where is Raleigh? Charlotte. Greensboro, Durham, Raleigh. No. Wait. Maybe? No. I'm going right down the 80. Is it the 84? 64. Yeah, my glasses are great. No, it's 81. What just happened there? Oh, that's weird. Okay, so yeah, going down the 81. Closer to Jacksonville, kind of. Yeah, I don't know where Jacksonville is. I'm not really familiar with the East Coast. I just know that in West Virginia, the roads are absolutely perfect for some odd reason. From when you go from Pennsylvania, where it's like driving over a dirt track, to you go into West Virginia that everybody makes fun of for being so fucking backward. And they've got the smoothest roads I've ever seen, at least the highways. And then you get to, let's see, Virginia, where they pull you over for everything. But then you cross over into, what is this? North Carolina. I think it's North Carolina, where I looked up and saw a state trooper parked in the median, pointed directly at me. And I looked down and realized I was doing 90. Oops. But then I realized shortly after that, hey, the guy in front of me is doing 90. The guy behind me is doing 90. Shit, everybody on this fucking highway is doing 90. Like, I'm not passing anybody. Maybe they just don't care. Or, I don't know, maybe he was, you know what? He probably stopped at Krispy Kreme. He had goo on his hands and he was in the middle of a donut. And he was like, fuck it, I don't care. I'll pull him over later. I don't know. Whatever it was, I thought, wow, maybe everybody in this state drives like a maniac, and that's pretty cool. Because, I mean, as long as you're in the middle of the pack of zebras, you're probably not going to get eaten, most likely. So let's see, take care of highway, not dental work in West Virginia. And that's just mean. That's just mean spirited, Mark. I got $500 ticket in Virginia. Yeah, Virginia. What's that about? It's not for lovers, it's for idiots. Don't go to Virginia, guys. It's not a fun place. Let's see. Unless you're in Norfolk, that's a fun place if you're a Navy SEAL or a Marine. Actually, it's not a fun place. That's a little inside joke for you vets because nobody in military towns likes the military. It's funny. We're all heroes everywhere else. I just ate some zebra stew. I think I have a zebra stew. No shit. How do you eat zebra stew? I'm sure it probably tastes good, but how do you get that? That sounds extraordinarily expensive. I want some. Don't try that in St. Louis. Oh, no. I remember I was in, where was I? Fort Smith, Arkansas. And my buddies and I were like, hey, where do we go to get some beer? And they said, well, you got to drive across into Oklahoma. We were like, man, the South is fucking weird. Okay, whatever. And they said, by the way, don't speed over there. They'll pull you over as soon as you get across. Are you going to pass Kentucky? Yes, but I'm not going through Kentucky. I'm just passing. I'm going around Kentucky, which is interesting because I wouldn't mind living. I don't know about Kentucky. Maybe Tennessee. I don't know, really. I mean, there's some beautiful places in both of those areas. But at the same time, I'm also one of those crazy fuckers who studies history and knows that crustal displacement may actually be a real thing. And if it is, I don't want to live in the lowlands anywhere. So maybe the Cumberland Gap would be okay. But other than that, give me the Rocky Mountains, baby. Which sucks because the one place I found in the Rocky Mountains that was really awesome was in the middle of a valley where all of the coldest air from the Rockies flows. Just flies right through there. What's this? Plus is only 3.2 beer. What? Ugh. Yeah. Kentucky has a Democratic governor. How'd they do that? Oh, big cities. Uh-huh. Well, it is what it is. So then I'm going to go through, let's see, I'm going from Atlanta. I'm going to go through Louisiana, through Texas. If I have time, which I probably won't, but if I do, I'm going to cut straight up over to Colorado Springs, Colorado, and do another podcast. Go East Tennessee, not Nashville, not Memphis. No, I know. When I drove through Memphis, people were telling me, man, don't drive around in Memphis at night. I was like, why? And we're like, on a motorcycle? Oh yeah, you're gonna get mugged. Somebody's gonna shoot you. We voted for him twice. Wow, that got censored. We're notifying viewers that you're live. Okay, well, thank you. It's about fucking time, TikTok. Get on it. I've been live for 2 hours now. Oh wait, I'll tell you how long. An hour and a half. Just getting warmed up. Hey, Rodney. Oh my God, I got 6 people on YouTube. Hello, my half dozen. So yeah, we've got quite a trip planned there. We meaning me, all by myself, because, well, if I were stuck in a car with somebody for 7 full days, I think they'd try to kill me. Or themselves, probably, because, I mean, what do you think I'm going to be talking about the whole time? When will the fiat dollar go away? Sooner than we thought. If you're coming through Springfield, Tennessee, where the hell's that? Pigeon Fart. Oh, Pigeon Forge. Never mind. Wait, that's North Carolina. Holy shit. There's so many little teeny weird towns. I'm not going through Charlotte. Am I? God, I hope I'm not. No. Yes. No. I have no idea. Oh, there's the 81. Salem. What's Salem what? Salem, North Carolina. Okay. So I'm going past Salem on the 81. And then I'm going down the, well, there's the 81, Morristown, whatever the fuck state that is. Then I'm going, through Knoxville. Huh? Why didn't I cut over to the 85? This is going to be a fun trip. I will get lost. And no, I will not use my GPS. It's about 45 miles north of Nashville. Oh, no, you're way, way west. Sorry, brother. Ain't got time for that. I'm on a mission. I got to get to Randall. Randall and I are going to spill the beans, so to speak. Nashville and Atlanta, traffic is the worst. Well, that's the good news is I'm going to Stone Mountain, which is, where is Stone Mountain, son of a bitch? I thought it was north. Oh shit, it's east. It's not really north at all. Ah, crap. That means I do have to go through Atlanta, sort of. Unless I take the 85. See, I have no idea what I'm saying right now. That's the funny part. East Atlanta, yeah. Used to live in New York. Roads are terrible. Oh my God. Why not GPS? Where's the adventure in that, bro? Come on. Are we not men? Yeah, I'll get lost. So fucking what? Let's see. Pigeon Fart. Morristown and Pigeon Fart are in Tennessee. Stone Mountain's in Georgia. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, look, if you don't get lost, you're not having fun. And by the way, if you got my personality and you get lost in Bear Fart fucking West Virginia or some shit, you're going to have fun. Trust me, I will have fun. Because everybody I talk to is going to go, "Hey, man, where are you from?" Just about like that. It's going to be thicker in some parts than other parts, but it's going to be something like, "Hey, man, where are you from? You ain't from around here, is you?" Exactly. I should carry a banjo with me just in case. Oh shit, that's awesome. We just need a little banjo music in the background for that one. Let's see. Now I know, by the way, that Buckhead, Georgia. Hey, that's where my step uncle, yeah, that's where he lives. Cool place. I've been there once. It was really cool. Let's see. Blue Ridge Parkway is a beautiful ride in autumn. Yeah, that's why I was thinking about shit, why do I have to rent a car? Why can't I just buy a motorcycle? Oh, duh. I know why, because I'm going to have fucking half a ton of fucking silver on me. Well, that's kind of like a couple of fat people on a motorcycle. Probably shouldn't have said that on TikTok. Did we stop talking about serious stuff? I don't know. What do you want to talk about? What would your gambling money be on? Oh, are you talking about the election? Oh, yeah, Trump's going to win that. Now, whether they let him win or not, I don't know. There might be some tomfoolery that happens there, but look at what's happening. It's it's the fourth quarter, and we had a thing with my football team in high school where no matter what the score was, we had convinced ourselves that the fourth quarter, the entire fourth quarter, belonged to us, period. There was one game where we were down something like 28-3. And when the fourth quarter started, we did what we always do. We all held up our fingers and screamed 4. And all the people in the stands on our side held up their fingers and they all screamed 4. And it was almost like the other team thought that was funny. Like, yeah, what's that mean? Well, we won the game. But the point is that, it's the fourth quarter. And Trump seems more relaxed and more approachable and more down to earth and more, comical. It's not as mean spirited. Like when he was on Joe Rogan, I saw that he said that, if she comes on here, she's going to be, catatonic over there on the floor after the interview. You're going to have to call 911, and it's funny because it's like, okay, Did he say anything really mean? No, it was, but it was smart ass like you expect from Donald Trump. But it was smart ass and not really mean spirited. So, he's throwing these sort of slower jabs. They're not as sort of angry as they were. And he's having fun. And you can see it. You can see that he's relaxing more and more and more now. And that is the absolute worst case scenario for the Democrats, that this guy's going to have fun. Let's see. Can you believe that, Feisty Girl? They went ahead, going to be Trump's recession, going to put it on him. They'll love blaming him for it. That's already happening. We triggered the Somme rule already. We just have to keep reminding them that, like Obama, they tried to blame Obama for the last recession, and he was like, "Look, I'm just here to clean it up. So grab a mop and quit bitching and help me clean it up. Stop looking over your shoulder. Stop looking at the past. Let's move forward." Now, what that really meant was I was funded by all of the big banks, and I'm not going to prosecute any of them. But what he meant was, hey, this was already happening. So what are you going to do? Well, thank you. Appreciate it. That's the same thing Trump needs to just keep reminding people is that, hey, look, when I took over, it was a shitstorm. And the shitstorm was just starting. And now we're weathering it. I did vote for Obama, actually, the first time around. And then he killed a couple of American citizens with drone strikes without any due process as a constitutional law professor. And I said, what the fuck was that? That was the clearest violation of the Constitution I've ever seen. For someone, by the way, who had never committed a single act of violence, nor had his son, who was born in the United States, I believe born in Denver, Colorado. And they were both killed by the United States government without being charged with a crime. Oh, that's a fucking ugly precedent, isn't it? So needless to say, that was the first time I voted for him, but second time around, I understood what he was really all about. They blame everything on Trump now anyway, no big deal. True. So, the bottom line is they're both going to spend a shitload of money. Neither one of them is going to affect an outcome in the next 2 years or 3 years. If you want to make an omelet, you got to break some eggs. That's a hell of an attitude to have towards murdering American citizens. But yeah, let's see. Can you restart your whatever it is glitching constantly on my end? Oh, let's do it. All right, let's start over again. All right, boom, and then boom. All right, let's try that. That should do it. I hope. I think. We'll see. Let's see. Fine here. All right. I've gone live for 90 minutes. Okay. Mine's been good. All right, man. It's you. You are glitching, young man. You say, quit your bitching. But then I thought, no, it's okay. I can handle a little complaining. Quit your glitching. That is a moral imperative. Speaking of morals, yeah, we really bought that bullshit, love and peace and hope and joy and whatever the fuck Obama's thing was. Wow, that was amazing. Because I didn't know at the time that JP Morgan was his largest contributor. Yeah, the banking system. He surged from nobody to zipping past Hillary Clinton in a heartbeat and became the president. And how? With a huge amount of support from the banking industry, which was what? Failing at the time. And what did we do? Well, first, George Bush gave them $785 billion in the first round. And then the next thing you know, Obama said, well, that was good, but it wasn't enough. So the Republicans and the Democrats sided with the banks and gave them altogether $208 billion of our tax dollars. Now, I know you're thinking, well, fuck, Martin, that's nothing. $208 billion. We've sent that to Ukraine, and they're not even a democratic country anymore, which they're not. Let's see. We'll lose their subscription benefits. I have no idea what that means. Any thoughts on what state this country will be in after November 5th. Al Gore, God, no. Oh, no. I saw right through Al Gore. Yeah, that was obvious to me. Al Gore was a dangerous human being because he had two things that I didn't think any other human being could possess to that extent, and that was ignorance and arrogance. I know you think, wait, are you talking about George Bush? Huh. No, I'm talking about Al Gore. They had that in common, though, didn't they? So, that's the problem, is that we've had just, these candidates that the parties put up, and it's like, all right, it's our guy's turn. Okay, you do it. All right, now it's our turn. We'll do it. We'll bitch. And now it's your turn. You bitch. What? Let's see. TARP was paid back with interest. Uh-huh. And do you think that went back to the taxpayers? I doubt that very seriously. Now I know that Ford didn't accept any money, and that Chevrolet did. They accepted a huge amount of money, and then they turned around and screwed all their workers. You gotta love the billionaire class, man. I mean, these guys really don't get it. Kennedy Jr. seems to be doing well these days. I hope so, man. I hope the guy gets a place in the cabinet, and I hope he's allowed to go after the nasty sons of bitches that are poisoning our kids. Look, we all know it. We all know what's going on. You literally have to have an education in nutrition just to get through the fucking grocery store nowadays. And if you don't, God forbid, you've got an exhausting job. What if you're a fucking construction worker? You work your ass off all day and you don't have time to sit in front of the fucking computer and go through the mounds and mounds and mounds of papers that show that fluoride causes IQ loss in children. Wait, but we fluoridate water. Yep, sugar is not the culprit. Up until 1979, everything had sugar in it. How much was the obesity rate? Damn near zero. In 1979, they reformulated all the soft drinks and candy from sugar to high fructose corn syrup. And between 1979 and 1980, obesity rates and diabetes both went up by 65%. Do your homework. Yeah, high fructose corn syrup can't be digested. It's shit. It's horrible. Red dye, terrible for you. But yeah, don't blame sugar. Sugar's been around for hundreds of years and people have been eating it. And how fat was everybody in 1965? Go look at some movies. Just go back and look at the home movies that were shot in the 60s and 70s. Yeah, you'll see a fat person once in a while. Every once in a while. Trust me, I was at the beach in Huntington Beach, and at 290 pounds, I felt pretty slim. I mean, my God, this whole country is overweight. Like, we're all overweight. What happened? What happened? We don't eat as much sugar as we used to. Sugar is more expensive than high fructose corn syrup, so they don't put it in anything. And they certainly don't use cane sugar much anymore because beet sugar is much easier and cheaper to make. Hacked my account, and Dan was talking about I have no idea what that even means, but is that you or a hacked account? No, I don't DM anybody. I don't even DM people back usually. I mean, I haven't checked my direct messages and shit probably a month. Fattening us up for the aliens. Yeah, well, guess what? Our revenge will be simple. We're going to give them diabetes. Let's see how aliens like not having feet. Let's see. We are the only generation that has been able to experience this. Yep, it's true. Well, now it's let's see. It's the boomers and Generation X and the millennials and Generation Z, and now the youngest kids are considered Generation Alpha. I pray to God they act like alphas and not the little soy boy idiots that that the last two generations have acted like. Oh, it's terrifying to me. Yep, yeah, I'm sure it does. He probably has. It's probably like, big and corn fed, but it's big and corn dash fed or something like that. Yeah, my pictures all over. It's crazy how many. At one point, I had 60 channels that were all imitating me. And I mean, hey, they say imitation is the most sincere form of flattery. Guess what? It's also a pain in the ass. 6 of you over on. Yep, nice. 7 of you now. I'm getting ready to break a record. I think my record's actually 12. I told my coworkers about you at my work. My bosses are not smart. I'm not really sure you should have said that after you told all your coworkers to come here, but we can't fix it. So we just say, what would Martin say? It's funny. It's fucking awesome. Let's see. Yeah, I mean that's look. I get some really, really interesting ideas floated my way. People call me all the time. They're like, "Hey, let me ask you something. You've started a bunch of businesses. Would you recommend doing this?" And it's like, are you trying to end yourself financially? Because I mean, if that's the goal, yeah, that's a great idea. There are fake accounts of you. Yeah, it's definitely a compliment. It's also a huge pain in my ass because no, that's definitely not me. Big and corn fed -1. Nope. What do I think about Israel and Iran? Yeah, that's definitely one you want to talk to me on YouTube live about, not here. Every single time I've chimed in about what I think about the Middle East, a week. I'm canceled for a week. And that's just the way it is, But I'll tell you what, when I end the live stream on TikTok, go over to YouTube. It's still Big and Corn Fed over there. And I'll talk to you guys a little bit about that. I've been doing a little research, and woo, man, let me tell you something. When I say that Israel and Iran and the Palestinians, it's a marriage made in heaven. That's all I'll say on here because I'll get kicked off if I say any more. But what a perfect relationship. I'm in TikTok jail now. That's because you're in West Virginia. That's what it is. By the way, people ask me all the time, do you still collect pennies? Well, here's the deal. I mean, if I find a penny what is this? Oh boy, I better put my shades on. Not my super nerd shades. Yeah, this one's okay. This one's not bad. But you see that? You see how, oh, hold on. Looks like a brand new penny. That's a 1956 Denver. Now, yeah, it's completely uncirculated. It's in mint state. No, I shouldn't be touching it with my fucking filthy fingers, but it's not one that I'm super worried about because, I mean, it's probably worth $20. There are dozens of these tubes, hundreds of them probably, that I have, and they have any number of crazy things in them. Like, I'll give you an example. And this is not where I keep the really, really expensive stuff. I keep that in a completely different folder. But you see that little guy see how it's not copper? That is a 1943, right? Yeah, if it's a 1944, by the way, I'm retired. They actually did make a few of these in 1944, but only a few. Let's see, it's 1943, Philadelphia. And how do I know it's a Philadelphia mint? Because you see under, let's see, wait, had it for a second. There, right underneath the 45, it doesn't say anything. Because if it's got a D or an S, that's Denver or San Francisco. If it has no marking at all, then it's Philadelphia. That's how you know. So yes, I do still have a few of these beautiful old pennies. What's this one? 1957, Philadelphia. And, I was going to just sell them to people on eBay. And then I realized what a pain in the ass eBay is. And to be quite frank with you, I'm spoiled because I make so damn much money in the silver business that I just don't want to spend all day packaging up these gorgeous little coins and selling them for, $5, $10, $15 a piece. Although I bought 65,000 of them and I sold a few of them for $10,000 or $15,000. So I've more than made my money back on these old pennies. And the thing is that I could sell these and make money, but I'm just thinking, what the hell? Why not just hang on to them for a while? What's this one? Well, that's the 56. No, it's a 54S. 54S. See, now these aren't the rarest. These are fairly rare to be in this condition, but you can find these all day long. Let me see if I can find you on YouTube. Go for it. I'm easy to find, man. Big and corn fed. Do you ship your silver if I bought it from you? Absolutely. Let's see. Yeah, Tony. I don't know why they did this, but they censored that comment. But I'm going to read it anyway. Big and corn fed -1 is using your face and your name and your videos. Yeah, I am. It's crazy. I go on TikTok sometimes and I just type in big and corn fed and just see how many imposters come up. And like I said, at one point there were 60 of them. I don't know how many there are now. I don't even bother blocking them anymore. My thoughts on Reaganomics. It almost worked. George H.W. Bush called it voodoo economics because he said trickle-down economics doesn't work. But I understand the concept. I want to buy some silver sheets. Well, sheet, man, I don't know how to help you with that. Like, what's that mean? I don't know what silver cards. I know what those are. Getting back to Reaganomics, the key to Reaganomics is, these big corporations make tons of money. They have huge profits. They share that with their workers. The workers go home and, they buy the G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip for their kid. They buy themselves a big brand new barbecue that's twice the size of their old one. And they buy their wife, a beautiful new dress and, maybe a car because they've got so much extra money now. That's how it's supposed to work. And I appreciate the fact that in the 70s, that would have been possible. Not necessarily probable, but it would have been possible. Now, we don't have companies in the United States per se. We've got multinational corporations that are located overseas that take advantage of all of the tax breaks, and their employees are overseas corporate employees, and they don't pay taxes for the first 100,000 and blah blah blah. And you think, well, how often does that happen? Well, I mean, look at something like Dick Cheney's old company. And by the way, the fact that Dick Cheney endorsed Kamala Harris, I mean, man, if that doesn't tell you all you need to know, I mean, Dick Cheney, the worst human being in the world now that Kissinger finally died. This guy got us into 2 wars that were completely unnecessary so that he could make Halliburton more money. Really? I would think that if he endorsed me in a race, I would personally call him and make threats. I'd say, dude, you know what I'm going to do to you if you don't withdraw that. Say that you thought I was somebody else, put that shit in writing, or else. Also, the Bushes support Harris. Yeah, and Susan Rice. These are the people who got us into Iraq and Afghanistan through lies. Okay, so who else do you need? Well, get a couple more little war hawks on that wagon train or on that gravy train, and it becomes obvious that this isn't about like whether or not she's a Republican or a Democrat, because there's lots of Republicans out there who want her to win because they're in the defense industry. I think that a lot of people just don't realize exactly what it means. Does Oprah Winfrey support Trump? Well, she used to love Trump. I mean, The View loved Trump. She loved Trump. They all love Trump. You go back and look at the old stuff. I mean, they're on there. They're kissing him on the cheek and they're joking with them, and it's all fun and games. And then he got into office, and oh, yeah, wait a minute, you're not doing what we expected you to do. Hold on, you're not. First of all, you're not a Democrat anymore. Oh, you realize that the Democratic Party's lost their fucking mind, and now you're a Republican. Oh, huh. That seems to be a common theme among people who have common sense, who do their own homework, like me, or I don't know, JF or RFK, or Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, look, we were all Democrats. We weren't Democrats in name only. We were Democrats, and we thought, hey, yeah, we're a little bit of bleeding heart, okay, I'll sacrifice a little of my own personal money to help others. Why not? I want everybody in the country to be okay. It makes the country better. It makes it a better place for my kids to grow up, less crime. Yeah, everybody should get lifted up by this great nation. But now it's totally different. I don't understand why. Like, what do Democrats? Why would they want to hang, or why would they want to hang their hat on something like gender reassignment for children? Why would you do that? Leave that shit alone. Are you crazy? I mean, holy smoke! It's just that. What in the world? Why would you do that? Why would you say the things that you're saying? Why would you not publicly denounce the idea of taxpayer funded sexual reassignment for illegal immigrants? Like, wait, what? Yeah, well, they got here. Well, yeah, because 300,000 of them a year have been flying here on private chartered airplanes on our tax money, based on the federal government doing it. Oh, well, where'd they go? Well, we don't know. What do you mean that you don't know? Well, 28,000 of them gave us the exact same address before we realized that 28,000 of them had given us the exact same address. Oh, whoops. So, that's the problem is so did I become a Republican? Well, they're full of shit too. So I became a libertarian because that suits me better than anything else. Independents are all the same. Independents are angry Republicans, but they're Republicans. Oh, they're independent, but they're pissed. They're pissed off. So they vote independent, but they usually vote Republican. I'm not just pissed off at the Republican Party. I want it to be done, just like the Democratic Party. Are independents the smartest? That's a good question. I mean, it's like, when you talk about religion, are agnostics smarter than Muslims or Jews or Christians or Hindus? That's a slippery slope there. By the way, they censored that comment, by the way, TikToker. Yeah, that's why nobody else can see that comment. But TikToker said, are independents the smartest? I mean, they're either the smartest or the most confused. I mean, who knows? But it's it's a very interesting game nowadays. Things are well, I'm going to talk about that on YouTube. How many people do I have? 7 people on there. All right, so everybody found me over there. That's good, because I do want to talk about what's going on overseas, and that might get me demonetized. Are you also angry at Republicans? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You think, do you have any idea what would happen if I were in a room alone with Lindsey Graham? Look, for my country, I've done things that most people, a lot of people, have never done. They've never had to do. Consequently, when I hear Lindsey Graham talking to someone, and I see the video, so I know that's true, And he says, people just don't understand what's going on. They complain about how much money we're sending to Ukraine, but it's less than 1% of our budget. And, we've got no boots on the ground and we're killing Russians without having to put boots on the ground. He said, it's great. And he started laughing. What kind of fucking demon does that? I mean, I get it. There's a lot of ignorant morons that, even on here that are like, hey, man, we get to kill the Russians. Look, okay, until you've done that, until you've been in a war, until you've seen what that looks like, you get no opinion. You have no opinion. Just because you watched Iwo Jima 4 times with John Wayne doesn't make you an expert in war. And that's the problem, is we've got these people who are clearly psychopathic. They talk about killing like it's a joke. These are 19 and 20-year-old sons and daughters. They're somebody's boyfriend or fiance. These are children on both sides. What is so goddamn funny about that? How can you say that you're proud of the fact that we get to kill Russians without having boots on the ground? And he summed it up by saying, it's the best money we've ever spent. There is a special place in hell for you, Lindsey Graham, because you are not a human being. You have no concept of what you're doing. It's patriotism. Jesus Christ. Are you kidding me? We didn't start the war, huh? Well, I don't even know where to start with you because, number one, you're one of those chicken hawks who's never had to do what he's talking about. So I feel sad for you because you actually believe that the murder of humans in the name of industry is actually okay. Unless, of course, it was one of your family. I was in Germany in the U.S. Army in 1965. It was very different. That was a very different country in 1965. Oh, I'm not. It's not. You can't say he's coming from any place other than evil. Period. I mean, what? How can you not say that laughing about the death of human beings in a war that didn't even need to happen is okay? There's just no way. Well, I just told you what he said. He said it was actually the best money we've ever spent, killing Russians without having boots on the ground. And that people like me, I just don't understand. I don't understand that it's not that much money. And it's like, wait, it's not that much money? Well, no, it's less than 1% of our budget. Okay, but it's still $200 billion. Did you spend $200 billion on North Carolina last month? This month? No. 20 billion? No. 2 fucking billion? No. But we sent 5 billion to Israel last week. I'm just telling you, man. And right now, what we're doing is evil. Therefore, the administration that's in charge, who is funding all of this, is evil. Period. That's it. It's that simple. You can't, like, there's no way around this. We're paying for people to die. And the reason that we're paying, oh, look at that. I got flagged for harassment and bullying. How awesome is that? I'm sorry, Lindsey Graham. You're right. His statement is disconnected from anything. Yeah, I mean, that it just shows government doesn't care about us. Well, it shows that it's not even us. It's okay because they're wasting our money, clearly. But the idea that you would laugh about hundreds of thousands of families being destroyed and young men going off to their death over something that absolutely did not have to happen. This war was completely and utterly preventable. I mean, look, 8 years, Putin said this has got to stop. He said he was going to go in. He said it was only the Donbass region where the Russians were being murdered. That's the only place he wanted to stop it. He didn't go after Kyiv. He didn't go after the western part of Ukraine. He only went to the part where Russians live. And I understand why the Ukrainians hate Russians, because the Ukrainians were not on the Russian side in World War II. Do your math, do your homework, look it up. It's history. And so the Russians and Ukrainians have had a tumultuous relationship. So does that make any of this okay? No. Does it mean that we should be joyous about spending hundreds of billions of dollars to watch hundreds of thousands of men murder each other? No. This is not leading by example. This is absolute insanity. Paul Harvey, I love that guy. He was awesome, man. And now you know the rest of the story. Let's see. BRICS is what USA doesn't like. It's what we should fear. The government wasting our money. Oh, yeah. I know. I've heard it all now. It's crazy, right? Probably didn't see that coming. If I told you what was in here, you'd laugh at me. Which is why I'm going to tell you anyway. It's Fresca. Yep, I'm drinking fucking Fresca. Grapefruit flavored soda. Trump 24 for the children. All right, I'll go with that. Sorry, Western Ukraine. Yeah, Fresca's good stuff, man. What do you think we should spend the most money on? Oh, as a country? Oh, it's still my childhood favorite, and I'm still a bit of a child, so what the hell? Why not, right? What should we spend? All right, glad you asked that question. Let's have some fun with that. How many carbs today? I don't think I've had any. I had yesterday. I had a half pound of bacon and half a dozen eggs. Day before, I had 2 pounds of carne asada and half a dozen eggs. What did I eat today? Oh, sushi. Yeah, sushimi. Drink sweet tea. Oh, no. Can't do that. That's a lot of carbs. What would I do first? Okay, first thing. Let's see. Oh, boy, there's so many things. Holy shit. We need to build a dome. Tony, haven't you talked to the flat earthers? The earth is flat and it's under a dome. That's why when you see a rocket take off, it goes like this so it doesn't hit the top. Yeah, I've heard it all. Trust me. What would I do? Okay, so here's a list. Let me give you a list. If I were king for a day, man, shit, that'd be a busy day. First of all, how many concubines is a king allowed to have? Is there like a limit on that? I don't think there is. Okay. You know what? I'd wait until after lunch with the concubine thing. That's premature, and I don't want to be premature. Clearly. So let's go to first thing I would do is I would make insider trading among politicians illegal in any form. You have to give up your portfolio to a blind trust, and I would probably make government service compulsory in some way, whether it was you have to serve in the army at some point. And by the way, the army would have some different tasks other than just, shooting. So they would be civil servants. They would help. They would do things. They would accomplish stuff. Kind of like the Army Corps of Engineers. So you'd make everybody feel invested in the country. I would definitely give term limits to all politicians. I don't care what they say about, for illegals. Oh, no, 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 no. No, no, no. I would make it an absolute federal felony to hire an illegal immigrant, period. If you get caught, you're going to go to prison. Mandatory, period. No, sorry, the judge has no say in this. This is a mandatory thing. So you either come here through a work visa or you don't come here, period. As far as lobbyists, I would make all forms of lobbying illegal. All forms of lobbying would be illegal immediately. If there were a way to take all of the lobbyists in Washington, D.C., all of the people on K Street, et cetera, even the ones in government in the different states, which would be mostly lawyers, so who cares? I would probably dump them into the deepest part of the Marianas Trench, which is the Challenger Strait. It's like 26,000 something feet deep, with a lot of weight tied to them, obviously. Don't want them to resurface. That just makes more lawyers. What else? Let's see. I would make sure that we already took care of term limits, so that's good. I would get rid of the Department of Education because it takes in billions of dollars and does virtually nothing. I mean, it just doesn't do anything. Like, I know I've got 5 kids. They all went to school here in Arizona, and almost all of the policies are set by Arizona. Now, they're told what to do by the federal government, but they do what they do here. They don't need to be told what to do by the federal government. So that's a department that just literally wastes billions of dollars a year. Let's see what else. I would also let's see, what's this? Get rid of income tax, make it corporate taxes. It really depends. I would have to look at that very, very long and hard. And the reason I would is because the last thing I want to do is destroy production of any kind. I want companies to come here. I want them to build here. I want them to do all of these things, but there has to be a balance. They can't own the United States of America. We can't be a wholly owned subsidiary of a bunch of corporations. I'm really glad that I said that. I would also hold the board, the directors of any corporation that committed anything that would be considered a felony if a human did it. I would hold all of them jointly and separately liable. So, I'll give you an example. Let's say that DuPont pours Teflon into the Ohio River, and they contaminate the entire Ohio River Valley. And it turns out that maybe 3.5 million people have a degree of Teflon in their system that will absolutely lead to cancer. There's no question about it. 9 specific kinds of cancer, actually. And then I find out that they knew. This was no accident. This wasn't an industrial accident. This was them trying to make extra money by not telling anybody how horribly dangerous this is. Then at that point, I would charge the CEO, the chief financial officer, the chief information officer, all the way down the line with murder. Period. If one single person dies from that toxic sludge that you poured into the fucking river, knowing, and the reason I know that they knew is because when they were early on in the 60s, when they started seeing horrible birth defects in the women that worked in the Teflon plant, they pulled women off the Teflon line. And one of their attorneys said to them, look, if you pull these women out of this Teflon plant, you're as much as acknowledging that you knew that it was toxic. And they said, shit, you're absolutely right. So they put women back in there without telling them. And so they continued to have miscarriages and horribly deformed children. Okay, you're a fucking murderer. Go to prison. You never come out, if you're lucky. If you're unlucky, well, you do get convicted of first-degree murder with special circumstances because they're killing people for money. If you kill somebody for money, that is first-degree murder with special circumstances. And in a lot of states, that's still a capital offense. Can we put men on birth control? That's the worst idea I've ever heard. Do you realize that right now the population of the United States is collapsing? It's not as bad as China. China is utterly collapsing. But basically, we have a cataclysm in the next 50 years, and that is that nobody's having children. What we should be doing is trying to figure out how we can motivate people to have kids again. And the only way to do that is to make their future look brighter. If the future looks better than the past, they'll have kids. It's kind of how we're programmed. Just like BP with vaccines. I mean, there's a million examples. Listen to the video. Let's see. And Harmeet Dillon. All right. Growing aging population and lowering birth rates. That's right. Let's see. Let's see. No workers. Now it's funny. You see that last comment, guys? You see how that didn't get censored? That is absolutely nuts. Huh. So you can talk about that on TikTok. But if you say, hey, what's up, Martin, that gets censored. It's crazy. It's the only way they can get liability insurance. Here's the thing. There are so many there are so many things that corporations do that destroy the planet. None of them have anything to do with global climate change. It's just literally global toxicity. They're poisoning the planet. They're poisoning our aquifers. They're poisoning our air. They're poisoning our plants. And how many of them have actually gone to prison for it? None. You don't go to prison. Look, the perfect murder is the one that you commit as a CEO of a company. It's perfect because nobody ever comes after you. But what if that changed? Well, that's just what happened last week. Last week, when they said, "Hey, look, if you try to mess, would I bathe in the Ohio River?" Shit, no, absolutely never. Are you kidding me? I wouldn't let my son fish or get near it either. That's no way. The Ohio River is toxic forever. Like, there's so much Teflon dumped into that. There's so much PFOE that it's, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if 1,000 years is enough time. See, that's the problem. You could talk about nuclear waste, but at least it has a half-life. It's going to be lead someday. But, eight carbon molecules bonded together, that never breaks down. Think about bankers and CEOs who got off. Yeah, perfect. Like, they would have all gone to prison. All of them would have gone to prison. Ethan, I don't even know what the hell that says. McCurdy. Huh. Let's see. They do it in the Hudson River too. Yep. So, here's the thing. They do it because they can. All right. Well, who's in charge of that? The Environmental Protection Agency. Gone. You're gone. What do I need you for? You're not doing anything. You're literally not doing anything. Now, if you say that, well, the EPA does do some good stuff. Okay, let's change this around. Let's say that we have a tolerance for mediocrity. Okay. I tell you that I've got this childcare that I want you to take your children to. Fantastic childcare, by the way. The people there are not only PhDs in child psychology, but several of them are actually former trauma nurses. So your kids are never going to be safer. Now, out of the 28 people that serve on the staff, only 3 of them are pedos. Would you take your kids there? No, most of them are great. Most of them are the finest men and women you'll ever meet in your life, and they are very good at what they do. And they're excellent educators. All of them are actually excellent educators, even the 3 that are. So Would you take your kids there? If I said that that there were only a few people at the long term assisted living facility who had ever been suspected of overdosing their clients without their consent or knowledge, but there's only three of them. Oh, it's only three of the nurses. Hell, there's 50 nurses on staff. Would you take your elderly parents there? See, that's the problem. Is that what we're saying? Look, our federal, all of these federal agencies are completely useless, except for the couple good things they do. They do a couple good things, they do a couple good things. Oh, all right. Well, thank God they only cost us $882 billion a year. It's almost $1 trillion a year that we're paying. What are we paying for? Well, we're that's for debt. But why did we go into debt? Oh, so that we could have all these agencies. What would all these agencies do? Mostly they grow. What? Well, they're just like any other organism. They seek self-protection and they want to grow. And they sort of multiply themselves. Oh, and what else do they do? Well, every once in a while, they come up with a really good common sense idea. All right. Well, let's just make them not exist for all of the time that they're not coming up with those fantastic ideas. And when they do come up with a fantastic idea, they can exist that day. That's it. We're paying because it adds to our taxes. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Just like ponds and lakes, the highest rated of birth defects. That's the thing. By the way, that would be those would be the things that I would do. How long did that take me? 20 minutes? Okay, so that's what I would do in the first 20 minutes. Then I would probably eat because I love doing that. And then I might take a nap. I mean, we got all day, right? For me to change the world. Let's see. What else? Well, I've got a couple that I can't say on TikTok. But it's time for me to go on TikTok anyway. So I'm gonna switch over here to YouTube where I can actually say this stuff, because if I say it here, I will get kicked off. There's no question. It's not like maybe I will get kicked off. I've said these things a couple of nothing this strong, but I've said a couple of things on here before that. Yeah, I might even lose my channel, but I'll definitely get kicked off for a week. So my YouTube is Big and Corn Fed. I'm on YouTube at Big and Corn Fed. Yes, I'm going to do the overtime part on YouTube for sure. Can't allow companies leave us with polluted air, toxic water, and contaminated soil. Well, that's exactly what they've been doing for 100 years. What is it again? Big and Corn Fed. Just like on my TikTok, it's just big, the letter N, Corn Fed. Oh, by the way, I think if you go to my bio on here, you can just click the button. It'll take you over to YouTube. So it's easy. And by the way, if you follow me on here, that's awesome. I noticed my followers are starting to go up again, finally. Thank God. And here on YouTube, my God, I've got 170. It's funny. I got 119,000 people on TikTok and 174 at last count on YouTube. But you got to start somewhere. That's where I'm starting. The podcast will, as soon as I start laying out some, do you have 183 subscribers? I might now. I mean, I had 174 2 hours ago, but I might have 183 now. I'm going to be very excited when I break 200, because that's going to happen soon. And once I break 200, then it's 200,000. Well, I have to post all my podcasts, like the Randall Carlson thing, all of the other stuff that I'm working on. That all has to go to YouTube because I can't do it on HowTube. I thought that was a fake account. No. That's me. That's the real me. Yeah, I don't have a lot on YouTube because I just started actually Like I've had it for years, but I just never put anything on there. Well, now I'm going to start putting stuff on there. So, all right, TikTokers, I will see you tomorrow. It's tomorrow, Sunday? Yep, I will be here tomorrow. All right. Now let's talk about what's really going on because we can't talk about it on there. Okay, so did a little research because this thing with Iran and Israel is escalating, and it's not going to stop escalating. It's going to keep going. So it's just a matter of, do we get involved in World War III, or do we sit on the sidelines and watch it play out? I'd rather just watch from the opposite side of the ocean. That'd be great with me. I don't know that that's going to be possible. There are going to be NATO countries involved here shortly. What I can say is, I have been very, very, very hard on Muslims because of like the things about, what Muhammad did with Aisha, his 8-year-old wife, things like that. That's, that's, to me, that's an aberration. That's not about religion. That's not about God. That's about your personal, weird shit. Well, as it turns out, I made the mistake of starting to dig into the Talmud, which is the Torah and the Talmud are the Jewish books. And boy, oh boy, it's absolutely amazing how much alike those two religions are, because it actually says in the Talmud that if you do things, is YouTube not as harsh as TikTok? No, they're a lot easier to deal with. But it turns out that if you, and they give this example, if you are to do something to a 3-year-old girl, then she's still considered a virgin. Even if you do it multiple times, she just automatically gets her virginity back. And if, say, a boy who is, 10 or 12, if he does something with a grown woman, then it's okay because he's just a child, so it doesn't count. Now that to me was like, wait a minute. So we've got two groups of people here who have some really aberrant beliefs compared to, say, modern Western civilization. And that's why are we supporting these people? Well, then I dug a little deeper. As it turns out, they had some really pretty serious beliefs about Christ and Gentiles. And it is written in their holy books that Gentiles are not humans. We are animals, just like a dog. And to eat with a Gentile is tantamount to eating your dinner with a dog. And then they go into all kinds of explanations about why lying and cheating and stealing is not prohibited if it's a Gentile. You don't lie or cheat or steal with other Jews, but we are not Jews. Gentile is, well, with that last name, I'm assuming you might be Hindu. And if you are, then anybody who's not a Jew. Now, obviously, I don't know if it's just Christians or if it's everyone that's not a Jew, but it's anyone who's not a Jew. So yeah, then in this case, this applies to you as well. They believe that we are animals because we are not Jews. We're not God's chosen people. And if you're not God's chosen people, then you're not a human, period. It says this in the Talmud. This is not some crazy fucking rabbi who's nuts who wrote this down, in Brooklyn last week. This is one of the two parts of their holy scripture. What the fuck? It makes me literally want to laugh because, and by the way, they actually think that it's like the truly Orthodox, the ultra Orthodox Jews in Israel must find this very amusing, that they have Gentiles who openly advocate for them. Because if you read their book, it says very clearly that we are not human beings, but they are. And anyone who is not one of them is not a human being. Wow. Excuse me, but that's even fucking worse than what the Quran says, which is that you either convert us or you kill us because we're infidels. I just started learning this today, and I literally went to 5 different sources to look this up, and this is actually in the Talmud. And I even went and saw some videos where where a guy was interviewing Jewish people on the street, saying, were you aware that this was in here? And it's really odd because you have to study the Talmud if you're Jewish. It's it's like Bible study, and it's odd because none of them denied it. They just said, well, the Talmud says a lot of things, and it's a very complicated, very complex issue, and I'm not really sure. I don't know if what you're saying is an exact quotation. Again, the Talmud's a very big book, and it's like, so you're not answering the question. Did you know that Jews believe that if you're not Jewish, you're an animal? Because that's really important to me. If I'm going to fund your war against the other group, the other religion that hates me, what the fuck are we doing? Like, look, just you guys have at it. Look, both of these groups, in their absolutely most basic religious beliefs, believe that I am not a human. Well, fuck you then. I'm not sending you tax money. I'm not going to work. And instead of giving it to my children, I'm going to give it to the government to send to you so that you can buy bombs to kill other people. Other people that hate me almost as much as you do. Like, what? And the best part is, one of the videos that I watched today actually closed with Reverend John Hagee, who I've always thought was just a complete, utter fraud anyway. He's one of these bullshit televangelists. And he's saying that we absolutely must support Israel in everything they do. And I'm thinking to myself, did this guy get a PhD in religious studies? Because if he did, he must have studied this. Like, I've studied several different religions, and I've studied Buddhism, I've studied Hinduism, I've studied a lot of different things. I mean, Hinduism was a blast because it's like, okay, this is going to be complicated. This is not a simple religion. And a lot of people are like, oh, I wouldn't even study that because, it's not monotheistic. And it's like, well, unless you really understand it, and you understand that this is all basically a test and none of this is real, and that there is only one God who has all of these different facets, and these different gods are basically the different sort of personalities of the one true God. It's like, oh, I didn't know that. Most people don't. Israel, by the way, to somebody who is an Orthodox Jew, is the entire world. I don't know if you know this or not, but the reason that Orthodox Jews, ultra-Orthodox Jews, don't have to join the service in Israel, they don't fight for the country. They're the ones who want to go to war the most with the Arab nations, but they don't fight. And the reason they don't fight is because, number one, they say that, A, we're studying, because an ultra-Orthodox Jew is always studying. Their entire lives are spent studying. Well, if you're a student, then you don't have to fight. Clever. Number two, they don't believe in Israel's laws, and they don't believe in Israel's borders. They're not Zionists, because they believe that the entire world belongs to them, not within the borders of Israel, everything is theirs. They are God's chosen people. They get it all. Okay. Well, I'm sure glad that's not a hateful fucking religion, because that would make it a lot like, I don't know, the Islamists who hate anybody who's not Islamic. It's like, folks, this is crazy shit we're talking about here. Now, if you said, hey, look, there's these two crazy tribes that want to kill each other. Oh, okay. Like on the Andaman Islands. I mean, okay, tribes kill each other sometimes over resources. No, they really, but there's like 50 million in one tribe and there's 1.5 billion in the other tribe. Oh, that doesn't seem like very fair odds. Well, yeah, but the thing is that the 50 million, they have the absolute sworn protection of 337 million other people in this other country that, by the way, they fucking hate. But they're useful idiots, and they do have nuclear weapons, so they're going to use them. I'd say, wait, what? See, that's the thing. I only consider myself a Christian because I read the New Testament and said, okay, I agree with everything he says. Most Christians believe in the Old Testament. When I started reading the Old Testament, I was so shocked. I was dumbfounded by how absolutely ludicrous it was, how absolutely, like, astronomically fucking stupid it was, that I thought, how can any idiot believe that this is God wrote this? It's just all these weird stories about, oh, he screwed this guy's wife, but he thought it was the guy's sister, so he thought it was okay, but then he found out. And that happens twice, by the way, just in the first couple books, where a guy literally goes to a new land and lies and says his wife is his sister. It's like a reoccurring theme. What? Why would you do that? But anyway, bottom line is this. I had a guy come to me a while back, and because I had at the time some very, very interesting antiquities from Babylon, from Samaria. I had a 5,000-year-old Sumerian bowl that was in perfect condition, and he said, "Have you counted the rings on it?" And I said, "Are you talking about like maybe see if there's like 72 rings?" And he smiled. He said, 72 is a very significant number. And I said, so is 144. And he said, so you know. And I said, well, I know a little bit about, some of the older numbers that pretty much all religions have encoded in them. And, they all have to do with the movement of the sun. 14,000, or what was it? 1,400 cubits, 1,440 cubits in the New Jerusalem, 144,000 Vikings will be allowed into Valhalla. It's the same number over and over again. Well, as it turns out, it's a processional number. It has to do with the amount of time it takes for the Earth to go from pointing this way all the way around in its wobble and pointing back. It's a 26,000-year cycle. 1 degree of precession is 72 years, 1 human lifetime. So anyway, he said, are you a Christian? And I said, well, I just read the New Testament. I've gone to church a few times. It seems pretty cool. And he says, he goes, have you read the Old Testament? And I said, no, I haven't. That's next. And he goes, well, let me explain something to you. The Old Testament is not God. I said, what do you mean? He goes, it's a false religion. And I said, what do you mean it's a false religion? He said, it's a false religion. The Old Testament is all about Satan worship, whether you know it or not. That's what it's about. And I went, really? I'm like, okay, wait a minute. This is going to get interesting, because clearly whoever wrote it fooled the shit out of a lot of Christians who take it as the word of God. So he explains to me the whole thing, his whole belief system. His parents, by the way, were Christian missionaries in Africa. So he explains this whole thing to me, and whatever the Agog or whatever the evil person pretending to be God is, and he goes through and he made some very cogent points. It's like, why would God not want you to have knowledge? Why would he want to keep you stupid, mindless, basically? And I was like, oh, that's a good point. And he said, and then there are all of these other things that simply don't add up. And I thought, wow, okay, I'm going to go read the Old Testament. Wow. I got to tell you, I was not impressed at all. The last couple chapters were a lot more spiritual and a lot less warlike. You have to smite your neighbor, and you have to tear out their civilization by the root, meaning kill women and children, genocide, basically. You have to do all these things. It went from that to being a little bit more philosophical in the last couple of books. And then you read the New Testament, and it's like, wow, this is utterly different. And his point is that's because the New Testament talks about the actual, if you want to believe this, the actual messenger of God, which is, hey, love. A lot of people don't know this. When I found this out, I said this to my, at the time, very Christian and now ex-wife, and she was like, wait, what? I'm reading it, and I said, they ask him about the commandments, which, by the way, were not called commandments. In Judaism, they're not called commandments. They're just called the words. That's it. They're not called commandments. It's very interesting. They're just the words. So, and there's a few things about them that I've recently discovered that makes them very interesting because, I saw that one of them was that thou shalt not kill. As it turns out, in ancient Aramaic, the way that it was written, and then translated into Greek, it's thou shalt not, and it's not murder, it's kill unethically. There is a word for killing somebody unethically, like murder, and then an ethical killing, meaning that it was something that's justifiable. Whoa. Because I've been saying for years to people, look, it just says that thou shalt not kill. So if you were in the Marine Corps like I am, hey, you're violating the 10 commandments. So, the rest of the other 9, who gives a shit? Well, as it turns out, that one is not what anybody thinks it is. So that makes it very interesting. But on top of that, there are some other things about it, like the fact that it's just called the words. They're not commandments. They're just words. The word commandment wasn't used until the 15th century AD. That's a long time. So the other thing I learned was that when they talk about a rich man passing through a camel passing through the eye of a needle more easily than a rich man into the kingdom of heaven. Let me tell you something, guys. You do not want to say that to most people in this country, because most people in this country do not want to hear that you're not allowed to be rich. It really, really bothers them a lot, because everybody in this country wants to be rich. Okay, well, but Jesus said you can't be. If you're rich, you can't go to heaven. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts. No fucking lawyering your way around that one, folks. Oh, well, wait a minute. All of these televangelists are all super, super wealthy. They all have, 300-room mansions and private jets. Yeah, they're all going to hell. Now, that's not me saying that. That's Jesus Christ saying that. They cannot get into heaven. Period. And why not? Well, I would have to assume that as long as there's a starving baby on earth, if you were Christ-like, you wouldn't be able to sleep at night, because you would know that there's somebody out there hoarding hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. Uh-oh, did everything go black? Wait, Is anybody else seeing just black, or is it just him? Or did I get kicked off? I might have gotten kicked off. I've never gotten kicked off before. I just started doing live streams, so maybe I get kicked off. Oh, okay. Hey, Mitch, it's just you, man. Oh, Mitchell, open your eyes. Mitchell, open your eyes. Why did everything go black? What's going on? Oh, turn the lights on. Use the clapper. No, I guess it doesn't. Wow, it's so awesome. I can talk about stuff that I can't talk about any of this shit on TikTok, man. Boom, I'm off instantly for this. Sweet. Okay. All right. So, yeah, bottom line is, and by the way, I've got way more people on here live than I've ever had before, which is awesome. Charge your phone. So when you think about it, it's like we're doing something that, and I'm doing this research, and I'm finding out that basically, and if you say anything, like, I'm not saying anything bad about Jews, because I really don't care. I don't say anything bad about Muslims, because I don't care. I don't like the fact that they hate me. So wait a minute. If I hated them, that would be anti-Semitic, or xenophobic. But what if those groups hate me just because I'm me, just because I'm not one of them, and the hatred is actually written into their text? Then what do we do? I mean, seriously, what the fuck do we do? Like, I can't say anything bad about them, but they think that I'm a fool and I'm not human, and that they wouldn't even eat with me because it's like eating with a dog. How did we get here? And more importantly, how did we get out of here? Because look, I don't want to change their minds. On the other hand, I do not want to be forced to give my money to people who hate me. Why would I do that? Good night, Larry. So why would I want to do that? Do you think it's a fake religion? Well, here's the thing. If you want to worship God, just worship God. Just worship God. So anything that has this sort of stringent set of these really weird rules that don't make sense to us anymore, because, well, they never made sense, and people blindly followed them because they wanted to get bread from the warlord who had it, and he said, follow this religion or else. Okay, well then, the exception, obviously, if you look at Buddhism, but Buddhism's not a religion. It's just it's a belief system, and it's a way of life, but it's not a specific religion. So, I was thinking about this today. The idea that religions are fine as long as you don't take them seriously, because the people who take them the most seriously, the radical, fundamentalist religious people, are always the ones who hate the most. I mean, that's the thing. That's a great question, because the reality is, if you think about it, we all believe the same thing, and that is that if you're going to call it God, whatever that is, if you're going to call it God, then it, by its very nature, has to encompass everything. Everything in the universe, known and unknown, is a creation of God. Okay, so knowing that, humans created Judaism and Christianity and Hinduism and Islam. By their very nature, they're created by God. There has to be. How crazy is that? We can't create anything that's outside of God, so everything is God. Nuclear weapons, ticks and mosquitoes, the devil. The devil can't exist without God making it so. So if God didn't want us to be misled by the devil, he would simply, or she, or it would simply will it so, and it would be so, because God is everything. So if there is such a thing as Satan, well, that's the point. Do we? How can we? How can we have free will if God is everything? Everything that you do, everything that you say, everything that you are is a part of God. You can't be separated from God. So your will is God's will. When you do something wrong, that is God's will. If you do something right, quote unquote, based on our society and based on what we believe, that is God's will. You can't, nothing can exist outside of God. God's either everything or God's nothing. It's either God or it's God with a little g. It's a statue that people used to, have sex in front of because they thought it was a fertility god. That's the kind of God that it is. Or it's whatever the true God would be, which is every single molecule that exists everywhere, period. And if it's a multiverse, in all of them. So that's pretty strange. And that was my problem with the idea of hell. Because if God knows that I don't make any of my own decisions because I can't, because God is everything, including my decisions. So God's making those decisions with or without me. Well, that's a great question. I have an answer for you. Because without evil, you wouldn't understand good. Let's just say that everything were perfect all the time. First of all, let's define perfect. Okay, it's 75 degrees every day. It rains for an hour, but it's a nice warm rain. It doesn't ever get too windy. Let's see, it's there's no bugs, nothing poisonous, and nobody's allowed to wear clothes until they turn 60. Sounds like a fun place to me. Okay, so this is this perfect place. How would you know that it's perfect? Because it wouldn't be perfect. It would just be all there is. Without something to compare it to, you can't possibly understand it. It's just like being in water that's 75, 80 degrees. It's cool water. I say, man, I wish this were hot. And you go, what's hot? And I go, well, it's the opposite of this. I don't know what that means. Well, it's not this, it's the other. Well, what other? And then I say, come with me. I take in, say, hop in that hot tub. You get in, you're like, oh, fuck, what is this? Oh, it's the opposite of that. Oh, now I understand, because now you have something to compare it to. So if evil didn't exist, what would good be? It would just be all there is. Nothing happens on accident. If God's perfect, then evil is perfect, because it gives us something to do. It gives us a reason to live. Why would we not be monkeys? Why wouldn't we just go and eat fruit and fornicate and sleep? And, trust me, that's what vacations are for. And that's awesome. But then after vacation for a while, you get bored. What's going to happen in the Middle East? The two most hateful groups on planet Earth are going to go at it. And unfortunately, they may drag us into it. I hope they don't. But these two groups hate each other. They also hate us. Both groups. It's in their writing. It's in their absolute basic tenets that we are not as good as them, and that we must either be used by them or converted to their religion or gotten rid of. And that the death of one of us is completely irrelevant to God. Therefore, it's not even murder to get rid of one of us. And both religions agree that lying to us and cheating us and stealing from us is not a sin, because we're not humans. How does that make you feel? Because I didn't even realize, like I used to say this to my friends, like, what's Israel ever done for us? And they go, I don't know. I go, We're constantly there helping them, protecting them, taking care of them, wiping their ass for them, getting them out of jams. What have they done for the United States of America? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. They've taken and taken and taken and taken, and they've given nothing back. They don't help us, but we help them. Why? Why is this relationship so fucking one-sided? Why is it so dysfunctional? What did we ever do to them that makes us beholden to them? Oh, well, they're God's chosen people. Says who? Well, it says that in the New Testament. Oh, really? So because it's written, once or twice, then we have to kiss their ass for thousands of years? I don't think that's right. That doesn't sound right to me. Is there a place for conversion in Judaism? That's a good question. I don't think that they consider you an apostate. Like they don't, like in Islam, obviously under Sharia law, if you leave the religion, you have to be put to death. That's just a fact. That's absolute. There's no way around that. That's part of their law. I don't think that's the case with Judaism, but I haven't studied it. Exactly. Just like Lindsey Graham talking about the fact that we should be glad that killing Russians without boots on the ground is the best money we ever spent. He has that same attitude towards everybody. And the sad part is he calls himself a Christian. But if you've read the New Testament, you know that that's not what we're supposed to do. As a matter of fact, this was really troubling to a lot of people that I talked to. God theoretically gave us 10 commandments in the Old Testament. And when asked Jesus if he had any commandments, he said that, follow the 10 that were given to you. But if I were to give you one, it would be love thy neighbor. Wait a fucking minute. Hold on. Not stealing, not killing unjustly, not sleeping with your neighbor's wife. Okay, look, I get that. I'm all good with those. Those are easy. Well, I'm sorry, Jesus. What was that last one? Love my neighbor. Are you fucking kidding me? Have you met my neighbor? Like, wait, don't just fucking go off into the sunset with that line. That's bullshit. That's impossible. Well, that's the thing. There's an Old Testament and a New Testament. The Old Testament, ask a Jew. Ask any Jew that you know and say, hey, what's the deal with the Old Testament? Is that our book or is that your book? And Jews without to a man, they will all laugh and go, no, man, that's our book. Quit fucking trying to interpret that book. That's our book. That ain't your book. I mean, I've seen it said on stage by comedians, Jewish comedians that are look, guys, I know you're trying to make heads and tails of this shit. Don't. That's not your book. You stick with your book. We got our book. You got your book. We got a couple books. You got a book. Read your book. And it's funny because it's like, yeah, it's a good point. It's not our book. So if it's not our book, why do we attach it to our Bible? Because if we're Christians, we have a Bible. It's very short. It's what Jesus said. It's the teachings of Jesus Christ, which were all about love and compassion, helping those less fortunate than you. I mean, it's very simple stuff. And maybe that's the problem, is the book was too short and they thought, well, shit, let's add this old one onto it. Or maybe they were afraid that the Jews would completely and utterly annihilate them. Remember, Paul was Saul of Tarsus. He was a Christian hunter. That's what he did. He was a Jew who hunted down and killed Christians. What? They had those? Oh, you bet your ass. Because remember that in the Talmud, it says that if you are a Gentile, then you are not a human. You're not a human being, which means killing you is just like killing a dog or just like killing a squirrel. It means nothing. That's why they went out and hunted down Christians, because they just didn't want to hear the bullshit of this false prophet. And that's exactly what they believe to this day. So why are we helping them? Look, I don't want to talk shit and hurt their feelings. I just want to know why. Like, if you hate me, then why should I help you? Well, from what I understand, from what I've been able to gather, everything that we're seeing, for those of you who didn't see that, he's asking me, what does Hinduism believe? What I've come to understand is that all of this material stuff, this isn't real. This is the test. And depending on how we handle this test, we actually get to go to what is truly real in the next life, or in the afterlife, as it were. But this is all basically, I hate to say it, but it's like a big fucking video game. And the higher you score, the better. And if you fail, then you don't get to go on to the next level. And not like the Buddhist belief that there are levels of existence, and if you are a bad human, you get to go back down to earthworm. But yes, that's my understanding. Is that fairly accurate? Would you say that it's basically a simulation to test us, to test our spirit, and to see how well our soul works? What shit? I forgot. I got a 60-second delay on here, so if he's answering, I gotta wait for it. This is awesome. I love being on here way more than TikTok. I just got to get the numbers up so that I don't have to do TikTok anymore. It'd be a lot more fun to do this. Is it Rajesh? Looks like Rajesh. It'd be so cool if I could just do nothing but YouTube and just let TikTok fade into the background like they should, because they've changed their format quite a bit. It's not what it used to be at all. Lots of ads, very, very little super interesting content like it used to have. Like I would see riots in France and in Israel and all kinds of crazy shit going on all around the world. No, man, they've sanitized all that. It's all gone now. Well, that's the good news, is that the podcast will be rocking. A couple more months, they say we're going to get rid of TikTok in America. You go YouTube 24/7. Well, I hope they don't get rid of TikTok quite yet, because I've probably, honestly, 250, 300 clients off of TikTok. So it's definitely paid for itself, considering it cost me nothing. So, I would love to get to a point on YouTube, because, TikTok doesn't pay. You don't make any money on TikTok. If you have, 25 million viewers, and every time you do a video, you're getting, 20 million views. Yeah, you might make money. I don't know. I know that I had 10 million views over the course of a couple months, and I made $271. Are you preparing for your afterlife? Nope. Not at all. Well, I'm being a good human. I'm helping people. Don't lie, cheat, or steal, and be good to your kids. And I help people for no other reason than it makes me feel good. And I know some people are martyrs. They're like, well, if it makes you feel good, that's why you're doing it. It doesn't count. Whatever. That's bullshit. Look, if you like helping people, it makes you feel good, help them. But as far as like, am I preparing to meet my maker? Fuck no. I want to live another 50 years minimum. Like, I'm only in my 50s. I want to live well into my hundreds. Whether that's possible or not, I don't know. But I'm going for it. That's what I want. So, all right, guys. Well, it is 10:16. So I've been on here for 2.5 hours. All right. I'm going to call it a night, but I'll be back on here tomorrow night. I'll do it the same way. I'm going to do my live stream first. Once I do the live stream on TikTok, I'm going to start ending that after an hour. And once I'm done there, I'll hop straight over, and we'll kick some ass on here. I don't know if you guys think this, but I think it's a much more interesting conversation to have that we absolutely can't have on TikTok. So you guys have a great night, and I will talk to you tomorrow.